Hello there. The poLAND.tf 2025 qualification stage is in full swing, and we have 5 rounds for 2 groups with 5 teams each. And everyone who has a calculator close can calculate. That's 10 teams vying to get some coverage on LAN. But before I get ahead of myself here, we are in the Group 2 Round 1 game, which is a little bit of a confusion rate maybe for some players, because both of those teams that are featured here, MPREGALODONS, or maybe the Sharks versus Oracle, they have already played their Round 2 game. But maybe Ben, who is co-casting with me tonight, can enlighten us, as Stu is already, as always, cooking up on the production in the background. But, you know, Ben, sometimes it's nice to play a round 1 game before the round 2 game, but what
numbers
are
aren't
you?
real.
Okay.
They're just not real at all. Like I knew that was the case because as soon as I saw like on the Discord chat they like announced that the fixtures. This is your round 1 game. This is your round 2 game. Someone like I can't remember which team captain was. Oh, by the way, we can't play any games until like week 3 anyway. And at that point, you just know that everything's destroyed. But yeah, like you say, both these teams have they've been in action. We saw actually on Essentials earlier in the week. We saw MPREGALODONS, they beat the Curse of Ra team in a really nice game. They got their first 3 points on the board. So looking to maybe step up from there. Yeah, they are coming in as probably the strongest team, at least in this half of the bracket. So we have like high expectations for them, but they've met those so far.
I mean, on the other side, opposing them is Oracle, who, to put it bluntly, got turned inside out by a team named Smoke Break, and instead of an S, they have a dollar cash sign. You can already tell their business in round 2. But yeah, you pointed it quite euphemistically, or pointed into other words. Oracle in the last ETF2L season, which is season 48, they had a shot at Division 4A, and MPREGALODONS. Some people might remember them from a regular season. They won Division 2A, so already, if you are looking at it from a sort of purely statistical point of view, that might be a bit of a difference. But you know, Ben, what I'm a bit off taken by? If you look at MPREGALODONS, or the Sharks, I will call them the Sharks, it's too difficult at this evening already for me. You have Jenny, Tiki, Samsky, Mackie, Davy, and Dift. So there, you know, can't it like be Div T or something? Because then, you know, we have the lineup. But do we have the lineup for Oracle, actually?
We've got 5 of the players currently in the server. They're still missing one. I believe they're missing one of their soldiers because yeah, so far we've got Vlad Mercy, we've got Non Apollo and Lab Rice Cat in the server. Still waiting on one of their players. I think they've got a sub as well potentially coming in. So yeah, gonna be. I think it's a slightly different roster to the one that played last season over on Oracle. I was in the we were chatting a minute ago. I was just saying how I actually scrimmed against them a few days ago, and yeah, they were like it's not quite the same. They had like the full French team before, and now they've sort of spread around. They've picked up Lab Rice Cat, who's like a pretty new sort of player, climbing the dips pretty fast. Vlad's been scout forever in like the sort of mid low area, but yeah, they're like sort of a decent team for that kind of level. But I think against MPREGALODONS, it's potentially not going to be too pretty.
At any rate, we're starting on process. After that, Snakewater, mayhap Sunshine. Let's see how this game rings out. But I'm already going to I'm going to pose a question to you, Ben, which is sometimes a question that is not well received in certain domains of life. But how do you think, or what do you think, how long will Oracle last?
I think they'll put up a bit of a fight. I don't think it's going to be anything like crazy, like 5-minute 5-0 or something, right? Like I don't think it's going to be anything crazy like that because obviously they're still like mid players, right? They're still able to like they'll probably pull up for a mid fight. They'll maybe have a go at some bombs. They might even get a couple of kills over to DFT and slow things down a bit. But like yeah, probably like ballpark, I'd say like 15-20 minutes. That'd be my guess, but I'm happy to be proven wrong.
As always, we are already here on the tableau for everyone to see, to be chastised, but you can peer also your eyes on the monitor, or you could see when we had the little overlay that you saw already, that ETF2L, poLAND, and all the other sixes action is in full swing. There are so many games to cover. There is so much for you to witness, honestly, in the 6vs6 format. As speaking about those compartments, we have 12 players in the server, so we should be going live quite soon. The Sharks are in the red, and the blue is currently officiated by Oracle players. I might, again, well, champion a little bit for the underdogs, but to be honest, I don't think we will see any upsets here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the Sharks aren't on blue team, right? Like, surely you have to be, right? Like, like I don't know, maybe. But yeah, we'd love to see like an upset, or at least maybe for a couple of rounds that we kind of hype. But yeah, MPREGALODONS, they're coming off such a strong performance in Div 2 last season. They've kept most of their roster, of course, losing Sale, who's now gone to greener pastures up in Prem, over with Mac and Co over on the Big Luck season team. Who, to be fair, didn't have it's not going too smooth sailing for them either, because they've just lost their first Prem qualifier game earlier on. But we've got Rups from one team. We're still waiting on a Rup from blue team. I think they're still trying to sort out who's playing as their sub. It's messy. I'm reading the chat and it's honestly just not enlightening me at all, to be honest, as to what's going on. But gameplay might be starting soon, maybe.
It is enticing. It is enticing to point out. I mean, you gave me the hint, or well, I'm going to take that hint before the cast. Don't read Twitch chat. Maybe also sometimes I can, reverse that tip for you. Don't read in-game chat, as it is not even players waiting for other players to join. No, they are bickering about what nicknames to use. This is TF2, or even poLANd. This is the sixes, how I like it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They're really getting in the zone. But yeah, okay, we just stop reading that now. It's just not worth it. But it should be good. And like you said before, right? There's a lot of games going on, right? With poLANd qualifiers, there's of course Prem qualifiers happening. There was the Essentials, like the podcast last night, where they had like half of Prem basically on talking about all their thoughts and such. Like it's been such a busy time, and what I can tell for their schedule coming up, we've actually got a bit of it on the screen now. There's plenty of stuff still going, right? There's games tomorrow night. There's more Prem qualifiers there. There's more poLANd qualifiers next week, and then it's already season. There's already going to be games from Prem happening, so there is literally no rest at all over here at Essentials. There'll be non-stop game, and there is actually non-stop game now because the game is finally going live. Both teams managed to find the F4 button on their keyboards as rollout number 1 is away. It's process. It's map 1. Let's go.
Just want to cue the Twitch chat into it. Stu's already my favorite producer. Said it is on, as we all see it's on, as the countdown was ticking down. But no, here we enter the first mid-fight. Both teams are officially tagged up. The Soldier already shot quite down low in HP, and Hivik cleaned up as well. Apollo, no Soldier, no Demo Man on that blue squadron. They're going to bleed some more players. 3k already on Jenny, and Vlad falling, only Labriscat leaving the vicinity.
Yeah, Labriscat had to run all the way back, and did actually leave early enough to get out onto last, but the problem is, like, she's not been beaming now for like the last like 20 or so % of Uber, so there's actually going to be a decent sized ad for DFT, and they're actually going to try and use it in. They've already got Samsky up above. They've got players pressuring in from 1 and 2. It's a precarious spot. The Soldier jumping down. Samsky already there onto the spawn door, but does not quite manage to get it.
Havik was the earliest victim of that mid-fight, and it spiraled down to their disadvantageous, preset there for Oracle, as lacking 2 really crucial players. Afterwards now, the conversion rate of the Uber is going to come in. Apollo hitting the Benny Bind on like 10 HP, and now this counter Uber might come in, but they're so far ahead already in the little blue counting down there on this little point, and they were just too slow on the point.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, they had the Uber as well. Like, absolutely. Like, Labrise was like a couple of % away when the Uber charge comes in, but they just gave so much space backing into those spawn shutters that, yeah, the point was absolutely free for MPREGALODONS. They've got the first round on the board in about a minute and a half. That was speedrun territory.
I can already see that maybe it is not Chekhov's gun that they are wielding, no, rather they're not shooting blanks here, I should say. Apollo is sort of trying to equal the rollout of Davy, but is slower at like conversion rate of it, 90 HP on him, and still waiting for an aiding bolt, but Ailing might be the players here, as the big bomb from Samsky. Labriscat is alone completely. The plumber is in still, though. Apollo pipes Samsky, but only after he has already done the damage.
Yeah, and his last little turn clip now has been so nice as well. Mercy goes down. Apollo, last one up, last one standing. But against 2 scouts, Demo Medic, it's going to be very, very hard work. Lands 1 with a pipe there over onto Davy, which is actually going to be a bit of a slowdown now, having a 13-second respawn on that Demo Man. But for now, midpoint's getting capped up. Gigantic Uber advantage, because Labrise, despite spawning first, has no one to heal, so has only just started beaming. Pretty much 100% advantage, so Davy can just come in, help out with the push, and yeah, it's going to be another big Uber ad.
Might be, well, an early night. Let's see if they are gaining traction here, buffing their players up. Mackie is calling for it. They're probably going to trundle toward that rollout side, as all the rest of the players, even from the Sharks, are going in the water here through the lobby area, smelling blood in the water. Even then the sentry is minced meat, not anymore on the table, not anymore on the field. Labriscat losing Apollo and now getting bombarded by all those players. It is all into Vlad, having to gun out the enemy team, and he's doing quite sufficiently so. Succinct is this deathmatch battle still, though. Mercy loses.
nearly came through the cap time, but on the scouts now left trying to fight this on. It's all on Jenny with help from the beam. But are they able to get onto the board? Are they able to get this last bit of cap time? Vlad doing everything he can to try and hang on to this, and might just be doing enough here because the back out is called. DFT gonna try and retreat all the way out of lobby, and really nice hold on there.
Jenny is still roaming up about the longest fight of the last point, eventually going to conclude here as essentially owning that point. Probably not close enough. They spent so many resources there on Jenny, who was hopping around like a little bunny rabbit, and also I felt like they were leaving their players dry out there in the open as they had spawners, but even waited in the spawn for 1 or 2 seconds and might have actually predicted on losing the point already. But it is 2-0 down, or 2-0 up rather, for the Sharks. 4 minutes have transpired into the distance, and the third mid is going to commence.
Yeah, I'd assumed that Jenny was dead there. I was already focused on that medic leaving out. I was watching, see if the chase was on to catch DFT, but Jenny just lived for so long and does a great job of distracting enough to the spawners to come in now. As mid-fight number 3 is on the way, and it's big aggression this time, straight out of the gate by the Oracle side. But actually losing one of their soldiers already. It's going to be non rather weak as well. There's a player behind him, Samsky, Alder and Sewer spamming through, getting 1 frag as well. But Davey goes down, so maybe there is a chance for some sort of scramble here, but losing their own medic is not ideal at all. And these last 2 players now are going to have to try and retreat as best as they can. Oracle with a nice pipe there on the way back, and potentially something for Mercy, but it's still 3v2, no heals, not looking too nice for Oracle.
I mean, Apollo is the Greek and Roman deity of, dancing. You can see that he's dancing, but he's also having the pipes to serve. Honestly, he is keeping his team in the fight for that long. The main problem is, I like the rotation, or that impetus even on the rotation was really great in front of the enemy teams of the Sharks, Sewer. But the main issue is they didn't check that there was still a soldier in there, and was able to clean a Labriscat up. And after she went down, losing the heals, it was all curtains from that on. Apollo really only fighting a losing battle. Jenny though falling, which might be able to offer some fight. I pointed him, I put him onto a pedestal, he's still piling through.
Yeah, absolutely, and now the DFT taking a lot of spam on point, might be forced out as well, and it is so. Labrise Cat still a few more seconds with getting an overcharge. It looks like he's going to be getting out alive towards the point. No, gets caught actually. Really nice chase there, biting it straight onto that medic. It was about 95, 98%. My hood is telling me now on that Uber. Really clutch scattergun shot there landed.
Still winning this though. DFT is withering away alongside with his other players, and it was really nicely soaked up. The second point cap is so far already faded into the Sharks' advantage, but there's no player behind. I wanted to say to go for the backup, but this may be definitely the 1v3, and he is going to secure that point, which leaves his team, and the opposing team rather, open to this re-aggression, since forward spawns Apollo all by himself, Havik trying to control the area on the top, but no one else is finding a venue into getting into the second.
How on earth does Davey live? I have no idea. I just saw him running out towards Sewer, but no one was chasing the players from Oracle. They were trying to back up. They were just trying to worry about getting the point and getting it recapped as best they could. And Davey's able to make it like a bandit there, as now Rush comes in all the way from 5, all the way around at the panic room. Already found 1 kill for their efforts, and leaving the high ground over the enemy spawn like this, it can be so dangerous. And Oracle now not able to get out of their spawn, even if the Ubercharge wasn't even there to be used in. Just that 1 player extra able to just barge through, just take that high ground and secure round number 3.
It was a very dangerous settlement for DFT or DIFT to take the red medic on 30 HP as that entire fight commenced, hiding out of view, but no one really had the call on that to maybe take those heals out of the fight, and then it was a very easy rotate through this panic room, and they panicked the enemy team, how eponymous apparently, but they just stood on them. They're on the top. Now it's a 4th mid-fight. Havik is already owning the top top area as he has done previously and before, but the problem is they've never been able to really shoot the barrage of rockets forward here. Jenny already weak, no casualties as of yet.
This gets so dangerous now though, because they've swapped sides completely. It's the all or nothing now for both these teams. They have to sort of fight their way into this mid. So far it seems that Oracle are now trying to spearhead through the middle of the point. They're trying to take as much space as they can, but they're losing players left and right. 3 players down already, and these last few, it's going to be very tough for them to get out alive. Almost Ubercharge ready for Labrise, but no, 98 again. It's the cursed number for Labrise Cat in this game.
Not saying that he's caught in technicalities, but now it's Mackie only standing on that mid point. Yeah, but 98. I'm going to give him the convalescent measures, at least not 99%. Now Havik is already shot down by the cavalry of the scouts. Vlad is on that sniper class, the longest shooting marksman. Doesn't really do enough if they're already on your doorstep here. Apollo is going to walk out, non-deleted, but the second cap only is ticking up now.
Yeah, the one player down still is Havik's very, very weak as well. Apollo might just be getting out to spawn, just about manages it. These stickies on point are actually being a big delay here, so Apollo is going to be prime target number one if they can start to get onto Vlad, but not making this demo man. Stickies onto the point though, and finally the demo man dies. Stickies go, and round number 4 is on the board for MPREGALODONS.
Not sure what is the fastest time that I ever had to cast a game, or what is the shortest time rather that a match took, but it might be along the lines here. Well, let's think of something to ameliorate the situation. I think Apollo is doing really well under the circumstances, and not really sure what the rest of his team is doing. Also, Havik is like bottom scoring, but I feel like he's definitely the man for them on this mid. They need to support him a little bit more when he is early on the trade. Now, though, the soldiers are a little bit delayed on their spawn, but they're going to bomb Davey! And in the air, in the heaven even, he goes after this barrage of rockets was unleashed.
Yeah, now it's the first real advantage you've seen in the mid-fight like this for Oracle, but look how weak they all are, look how much they've had to turtle behind their own rock. They're trying to just get some arrows around, and they've dropped 2 players in the meantime, and now the rest of the MPREGALODONS, they want to barge, they don't care, they've got no demo because Apollo's down as well, so no demo in the fight for Oracle either. They're going to have to back out with these last couple of players, but I guess it's the best showing we've seen at a mid so far from Oracle, but even still, even with that early demo man pick, they're just taking so much damage above the point that they just have to concede it.
Oh, Labriscat alone now against the world, or against the soldier with a direct hit. Semsky was dealt with. He was also a little bit like playing with the food there, which is not that common with the Sharks. No, they also don't bite off more than they could chew, but the revolver teeth were really were important there from those 2 soldiers. Eventually the medic falling down, 100% Uber advantage, might be in a drop scenario. Apollo only spamming from afar, Davey down to half HP, but it does not really accomplish or, well, yeah, get them into any like juicy position that they could have been in before. I see a 5-0 on the horizon, Ben.
It's not looking great here for Oracle. Maybe they can whip up some kind of defense. They've already got the gun built onto the point, but this direct hit soldier is a pretty good counter to that as the spam comes through, takes down that gun. Ubercharge used across the point, going across that right hand side now. And already lots of pressure. They have lost the demo man though on MPREGALODONS, so maybe this could be one where they can hang on here on Oracle. But it's all about this pressure. Or this Ubercharge from LabRiceCat is nowhere near coming through. There's already a little bit of cap time too. It's all about this spam fight, all about the recollapse. And the recollapse is coming in really nicely now from Ticket.
It's all about the deathmatch right now. It is all into Apollo's hands. Can he no incarcerate anyone? Never mind, it's going to be a wipe. And that is a 5-0 for the Sharks, really showing their prowess. It was a tactical maneuver. Unfortunately, it boiled down to DM in the aftermath. The Sharks they baited that cap. I mean, they lost Davey, which on face value is a fantastic pick, but both of those soldiers jumped toward the point, baited them in, lured the double scout and the demo of the blue team into defending the point, and then they were able to recombobulate and reconvene on that high ground and shoot some players away. I think that was a blue scout winning his 1v1 against the soldier, but afterwards it was all curtains. Anywho, we are heading straight to Snakewater, and you know what? I'm not even going to look at logs.
No, it's like 5-0 logs are they're like, well, logs. I've heard your opinion on logs before, right? You say like logs are like
the best thing in the world.
Yeah, they're good, right? But like it's I think 5-0 logs they can lazy with similar. There'll be people like on like 400 and something DPM, right? We know it, and there'll be lots of deaths over from the Oracle players. But it was an 11-minute game. What can we glean from that? And what I'm gleaming is that, like, I don't know, in a game where you're losing only mid fights heavily like that, there's a limit to what you can do. And MPREGALODONS, but they had the chances. All these Ubrab pushes were clean. The last one was a little bit less clean, obviously losing the demo, but like you say, the recollapse was so good, and the pressure across the point from those last remaining players was great. So MPREGALODONS, as we expected, taking a really good stab at it over on process and running it in a record time, about 11 minutes.
Yeah, definitely a record time relating to my time of casting games here. Definitely, if they keep this flowing, then a 20-minute like total time game. It's quite the rough start. I said it, by the way, that I'm not looking at logs, but what do I care about my past words? Dift has 1 death, LabRiceCat has 8, 5 Ubers on Dift. One Uber on Labrisket. Yeah, I'm not going to pound the rubble here. We're on the Snakewater. Snakewater is a great map. I do like Snakewater. We're waiting for those players to convene on that set map. But I was pointing it out, well, regardless of the logs, Apollo really is a protruding factor for me, may be able to come a little bit even more so here into play, since soldiers, well, leap in like on the midpoints, but a demo is always great at shutting down space after you leave the middle point and then stick all those pathways and hallways.
Yeah, and there's the other thing as well, which I think with Snakewater, which sort of plays a little bit more into the hands of an underdog than like a process would, is that you can play mids a fair bit safer, right? You can run your medic up catwalk at the start, and you can just send soldier sacks, and then you can guarantee, like, worst case, you're having like some kind of hold on a second with your medic alive, unless you're like overextending too hard. But like, you can go into mid with a plan of saying, right, if we expect we're going to be getting beaten in these like long drawn out mid fights, we can just send sacks and run. And I've seen teams do that before with varying amounts of success. Whereas on process, you're like, once you're in mid, you're getting caught. There's players like rotating around, you're getting caught like away from your own choke and you're away from your own escape routes. Whereas like on a Snakewater, that doesn't quite happen as much. So maybe there's a chance that like the game could slow down just for a few moments if there's like any situations where like a team backs out of mid and then like there's like a bit of a slow push into second, which is probably going to work into Oracle's favor, just because the first map didn't really go their way with these like sort of frantic mid fights.
I give you that. I don't have a recollection of all the games that I casted and all the tropes that I have witnessed, but I'm pretty certain in saying that I have never seen on Snakewater that both teams switched sides and then they were so committed in and had to clash against each other.
Oh, exactly.
It was basically all win or all lose, as you pointed out on process. But the problem really lie within the fact that you saw in those like short-term fights, the deathmatch disparity might not even became that apparent, but as the fights dragged on, you saw that the Shocks were simply just calling out the damage, and there was a lot of damage coming in, and you can only really outmaneuver so much damage sources.
Yeah, of course, yeah, and like especially these longer drawn out fights, like there's the consistency of like the increased DM skills, like it just comes even better, right? Like, because everyone's firing 10, 20 shots each. If you're landing consistently more damage with all of yours than the opposing team are, that adds up over the course of an entire fight, and particularly in these post-tubers, after the like pushes have come into last, we've seen some great cleanup, particularly from the two scouts over on the MPREGALODONS team. But we've got 12 players in server. Maybe they're going to be finding their F4 buttons. I know it took them quite a while on process to do it. I'm maybe you should speculate if it took them longer to do that than the actual game lasted, but that would be quite mean of me. But it should be a good start relatively soon. Are you thinking it might be a bit of a closer fight this time?
Well, I like that you articulated what was in my mind, so I didn't have to, but we're going to start here. It is Oracle in blue, it is the MPREGALODONS on the red, as they spend their sweet time this time around not bickering about whether or not they are using the right nicknames, though we're bickering about how to pronounce their team names, but now we are complicit in upping the ante. I hope so, as Davey already has a very big sticky bomb glued to his head, and now the double soldier come in. They don't find anything of recognition though, but Death is off the field, so now Beam, kill advantage for Labris, but until then, Davey has something else to say about it.
Davey taking the clean up, going very, very well, but actually just leaving Samsky the 1v2 in a pretty awkward spot down behind an enemy saw. So the point is going to flip into the blue. Quite probably, yeah, Mercy actually comes in and finishes off that kill. So Oracle straight on the board. A mid-fight win. Who would have thought of this coming out of that map number 1? It's going to be even Ubers, like we said. Maybe slight advantage over for MPREGALODONS because TF2 caught very, very early on by a big soldier sack right over the top, the high bomb landing in Saw, whereas LAN was caught sort of in the post-fight of that. But they're actually getting a foot in the door here into this game. And
the blue battle group have to be aware of that the red Sharks are in this advantage situation. You saw the Beggars bazooka not firing the shots. Beggars can't be choosers, but also can't be fraggers, apparently. And we're still waiting for this Uber here, and it is even more so, 50% Uber advantage. Let's see if they are being caught, as Mackie is already leading into the sky, and now the scout gets Ubered onto Labrisket, is like leaving, vanishes, but Apollo is claimed by this cavalry of scouts.
3 players falling there on mid, not a good look at all for Oracle. And this was about a 20 or 30 advantage, but it turned into more like a 50 advantage on Ubers by the time that the MPREGALODONS are pushing into mid. Really nice play there. And they're going to get second likely here, or at least force an Uber charge out on Blackrice Cap, because actually Ticket has gone all the way behind. Forced the Uber charge. Fly's going to try and run and get as many frags as he can with help from None. Try and repel this for a little bit. And with Davey going down, maybe there's some validity to this, but it's going to be very, very hard in the post fight. The recollapse is in. MPREGALODONS, they are huge this combo.
The problem is they don't have any direction. Like they only saw, yeah, we have an Uber advantage, and they pushed in. But the problem is the Red Brigade simply hit out of sight and into different locations, and then in the end they simply had no direction anymore on the side of Oracle, and now it's basically a lost cause that they're fighting here. Havek is alone against 4 players. Mercy still at the mercy of the enemy team, hitting his shots, hitting their shots rather, staying alive for so long, claiming the enemy medic's life. And let's see if Apollo can nuke through even more so. Vlad is battling against Neki. Can he win that? He just simply ignores him.
Yeah, long time on these spawners though, Oracle is going to be eventually the doom and gloom. They need to get a spawn wave in time, and eventually, in a rather scrappy fashion, let it be known, and MPREGALODONS get their first round on the board. And yeah, it is rough, right? Because I thought that Uber charge in the second, when they caught Davey, it was looking decent for Oracle, but they just didn't get enough positioning, and that recollapse in second. It's so hard to flatten that.
They simply didn't know where to take the fight, and then the scouts rushed in and shot the soldiers weak, and then they had to bomb out, and even then None was not part of this Uber. I'm going to refrain from any name jokes because you should never do that, but he was not on the field any longer, not like Labriscat not flashing the soldier. It is Davey this time around a little bit more up on the fitness, and wow, Semsky is leaping into the sky. Can he land? Can he find anything? No. Labriscat is reading that, but it forces the medic out of the fight, and they are so passive here.
Mercy. Okay, I thought there was a bit of farming going on there in the backline. Gets 2 quick kills and actually gets a bit of damage there over onto the medic and scout combo on the point. It was a good little into the fight there from Oracle. It looked like it was going pretty rough, but once that scout got behind and did some damage, got some frags, cleaned it up, it's going to buy themselves a hold of the second point. And with a roughly even Ubers, Labriscat hasn't quite been building into the same speed of TF2, but are able to get a setup going. They're able to get all their players in and ready, all these choke points, and now it's the owner spawn, and MPREGALODONS see how they can work their way in.
Semsky still in the Beggar's Bazooka. He's going to jump through. I'm expecting, yes, if you're on an off-weapon choice and you don't make it work, you're going to mire in obscurity, but it creates so much space, and Semsky's still in. Finally dealt with it, created all the space for his other players to get cheeky, to get ingenuous. I'm making up words, but anyway, they are ingenious, I'd say, since Davey is still on that window and trying to pry the stickies forward. Nothing is found, but at the contrary, though, they don't lose anything. Only Semsky is going to spawn.
Yeah, it's sort of it's so hard to push out of like a snake or a second like this that you can have the owners like counter sack one player, but by the time you pressured in yourself into a position to do that sack, you often just run out of time. And there we saw Polo, right, trying to push in, trying to just be a distraction, trying to at least get some space, get some info. He just took too long for everyone else. There was a lot of good damage coming in and retreating for those players, so they're just gonna chill up, get their spawner in, and Oracle, they respect it.
Semsky still on Beggar's Bazooka. Still on Beggar's Bazooka. I'm not sure if he's practicing it like in a semi-serious scenario, but Mercy has no mercy for Mackie as he is cleaning up this flank. Davey's so low on HP, 30 HP. They're shooting them down in the grass area and might be able to force this Uber out. Never mind, they're trundling forward and gaining traction. The velocity is only ever increasing, and I feel like they sort of just gave that up for free.
Yeah, once the Uber charge forced out, it was a pretty rough scenario for Oracle. They could have got that force in, but like they almost to Davey, but that's going to be a bit of a deciding one there, because now the Uber charge comes in. Honestly, the last point, but MPREGALODONS already closing out towards the left-hand spawn door. Havrik's gone down, although Labriscat trying to stay in this fight as best as they can, but they're getting cleaned up too. 5v1 now. And, yeah, no, last one left alive, not for much longer. It's 2-0.
To be fair, the red Uber was not of that much use either, which is kind of a fun fact to say, even if they get the second round off of it, but it was mainly to get themselves into position and then again shooting so many... Yeah, space, but you know, space is only good if you do something with it, and you saw it again. deathmatch was too much to deal with. You can expedite yourself, you can like get into juicy positions, but you have to hit your shots. They did that thoroughly. Both medics still on Ubercharge. I'm looking whether or not like Crit Streak would be a nice switch up, but again, you need to hit your shots. Apollo is a little bit earlier here now, arriving on the mid fight.
Yeah, going for a bit more aggression actually, as they all walk across here with the blue. They're walking so far forward. Labrise can't caught on the point, that's part of the plan, I assume, because TF2's gone down. Davey, Samsky both weak as well. Ticket obviously taken out, so we're into a complete DM brawl here onto this middle point. Non going to be the final one to fall, as on that previous last point, as was chased out towards the kitchen. But I guess kind of mission success for Oracle. They got onto TF2. They got killed into 2 more players. Davey was kind of fortunate to be alive there towards the end of that one, but the problem is 3 players surviving. This means that mid's gone, second is probably gone as well. Maybe they can look into peeking in and trying to go for something before the spawners get here.
Oh.
It's a rough fight. Oh, especially when you're losing 2 to a sticky trap. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, going to take some time. And then they spawn. Vlad9 is using the Bazaar Bargain. We see the Beggar's Bazooka, the Bazaar Bargain. Now Samsky finishes himself off on a Mercy, as they are still, though, battling in forward skirmishes and getting ingenious with it. I do like that they are not, you know, caught in a stupor here on Oracle. You need to take more fights. You need to catch them a little bit off guard. And that mid fight was mainly decided by them walking aggressively forward, but afterwards losing the medic. It was all part of the plan, but deathmatch coming in. I don't want to iterate. They're coming now through under.
Yeah, they got their sniper of their own over on Samsky, who's going to try and take the 1v1, but actually never mind, they're just going to use the Ubercharge in straight away. You know, Labrise Cat is still a little few percent away, but it's not for the curse of 98% this time, because the Labrise Cat is all well and safe on this right hand side. And actually, this Uber is done kind of less than nothing over in MPREGALODONS. They've ended up in a worse situation. 3 players falling, they haven't got the force onto Labrise Cat, and they're going to have to try and back out. Oracle are going to start charging in. Apollo's doing massive damage from the retreating players out of jungle, and now everyone's able to cap second, and look, there's still spawners waiting around. Davey was a late death, and that's going to be a demo man denied from mid.
Only 3 players.
Back in the game.
Only 3 players indeed were left in Africa and all shot on the low ground. That was a wonderful sort of like transpositional error for the Sharks, but Oracle taking full advantage of that. And Labrise Cat coming in with the Uber, but not even being like needed to use this Uber, so they can now threat with this threat of the Uber. But it seems like the Sharks are not really bothered by it. Already 90% though, and the big headshot of Samsky.
A really nice shot from Samsky there. Rips off the head of Labrise Cat. Now there's a random scramble. Ticket's going to fall, but that's all that Vlad is able to find here on mid. Havric's going to bomb in as well. Try and get to TF2. Gets 1 rocket, actually. Gets the second and gets the drop. Okay, that's very nice work from the solo soldier sack.
Yeah, brilliant. Now we have 2 drops in rapid succession. However, we saw Samsky on that last point. He was not really hitting anything there. Had a few pot shots, but ultimately on the midpoint, he did not switch off the long shooting marksman. Was able to clean up that big head, and the soldiers leaping in. Non does not fear any big name. However, Samsky on the 3K himself.
Yeah, we are into kind of chaos territory here. Everyone's sort of skirmishing around the lobby. Lots of damage traded back and forth, and 2 players falling now for the Oracle team, including a demo man, which makes it so much harder to hang on to this last point, so much harder to try and lock down these choke points, because now MPREGALODONS, they want to walk in, want to take as much ground as they can for free before these spawners get in and get set up.
Havik is always bombing around, and he's really not scared by any player. Or big air shot, or well, medium air shot looked decent though. Jenny, however, wins and was a little bit of a thorn in the side of the players, but you know, Samsky on a 4K, not really bothered.
Yeah, 2 players left up. Not going to be an Ubercharge ready for a while, actually, from Labrise Cat, which this might come back to bite a little bit for Oracle, because Ubercharge is ready from DFT. They have got all their players in position. Still got Samsky on the sniper, which is maybe not ideal for trying to push him with an Uber, but Samsky's just going to peek in and actually misses the shot over towards Labrise Cat. Has 2 goes at it as well. He's drawn a lot of attention over, but I wondered, did DFT not realise they had like a big ad here? Like, I think it might have just been because of like overbuilding with all the players dropping around with Oracle, but there was a really workable advantage there for MPREGALODONS if they wanted to go in.
Blue Medic also went down so low in the damage numbers. You called it out, you also sounded a little bit, well, yeah, surprised. I'm definitely going to think that maybe the view for their own advantage was a bit obscured by the sniper class, since I'm pretty sure if they just had Samsky on Soldier probably would have pushed that Uber advantage, would have had a keen eye put onto that, but I was putting Havik on a pedestal early enough. He's bombing those scouts. He's not even like scared, or he's feared by the enemy team rather. They're still taking their sweet time here. Samsky on that Vegas Bazooka.
Yeah, just trying to barge their way through. It's very, very hard. We see it on Snakeboard a lot. It's a really tough point to try and get into here. But Samsky's the one to bomb across, and Samsky's the one to get the force out on the Bryce Cat. One kill going their way onto Burst. That's all that they need. Samsky's going to fall, but now big advantage for the players in red, as they actually just drew. They didn't even want to wait for their spawn. They just want to fly in while Mercy's still in the respawn queue. As the push comes across the point, Ubercharge in. Lots of positioning over towards this capture point now, and this is maybe looking like a pretty good spot for a round.
What a fantastic flash onto Jenny. But now the soldiers are coming in. The cleanup crew is on the front. Only Jenny left alive. Probably going to be aided by spawning Samsky, but he's not far or ahead enough, or rather Jenny is alone on that last, I should rather say. But now maybe be able to push out here 50% in the banks of Labrise Cat, and they're already trundling toward the little plateau area. No one else is left behind their lines to threat a backcap shenanigan.
Yeah, really nice last hold. I really thought it was over when they saw the Ubercharge come in. But this time they're able to barge their way through and actually going to find both the soldiers on the transition, so no soldiers to bomb in on this midpoint as they walk forward, and big advantage for Labrise Cat. Oh, getting caught. Oh, that's not the frag they want to be losing on the way in now. The ticket, and actually found another one too. Oh, it's getting messy. This is absolutely not what Oracle are looking for. They're going to bomb in and maybe get onto DFT non, finishes off that last one rocket, so maybe this could be a good opportunity to get something rolling here for Oracle, despite losing Apollo early on. They've got such a massive advantage. This is more than 100% ad. It is 100% plus, like, what, like 30% from DFT playing as well late there, so no, this is like 130 ad. What more could you want?
I thought you're going to say it is infinite Uber advantage if the enemy medic is not even up yet. And if you're going to put him into respawn consecutively, might be even an infinite Uber advantage. Havik is already bombing toward that cheese area, and it is quite smelly for the enemy team, trying to sniff him out. Nice rocket to not crater, not let himself be cratered. Apollo is on that point, battling it alone for a little bit of a transmissional phase, and the Uber is forced because Samsky is peeking again. And Apollo is up in the sky.
Oh, it's unfortunate. Good peek there from Samsky. He doesn't actually land the shot, but the threat is what counts. Apollo being launched skyward there. Is there a... Okay, Samsky clears the back up attempt. I thought Vlad was going for something rather comedic there on the flank, but this one attempt, this one Uber advantage that they've had, it's the only real chance we've seen in both of these matches for Oracle to get a round on the board. Just all apart these tiny margins.
They're coming through kitchen. Let's see if they can cook. No, they're getting cooked rather. Jenny is losing his life, and Apollo has Deft so much locked down that it forces the Uber responsively. Might even be able to, yes, live.
How do you
Apollo
live?
does live apparently. Havik falls, but you take that trade any day of the week. Deft also quite low on HP, which means if a medic is low on his own fitness, he will probably not walk this aggressive with his team. They're only going to secure this midpoint, and that means Havik has a late spawner in the backline, so it's a 5 versus 6 situation.
Oh, and Labrise gets caught just so close to Uber again. That was about 92% there before Samsky bombs in. Rips away that remaining charge now, and the players in the red on the grass just soaking up all the latent pressure. And despite the robot follow there a bit to get that force out and escape, it's not going to be enough. Havik going to jump in, maybe try and get some good DFs. Not going to work. Last point cap already coming through a little bit. We've got Non and Labrise Cat, last two alive, trying to do what they can. But finally, round number 3. I feel like it's been a long time coming. But Oracle, they've been strong on their defense. It's been good. They've had a couple of good last holds. This one, obviously, there wasn't any time at all to get any sort of setup going. So not a surprise at all. MPREGALODONS 3-0 up and still lose control.
At Snakewater last. You might have thought that, yeah, 3-0 was maybe on the table a bit earlier, but to be honest, no real reason aside from maybe Samsky being very accomplished on that sniper class, forcing that Uber to hint toward the fact that it might have even been a 2-1 as they were on the brink of pushing onto the second and maybe going into that last point with an Uber advantageous position. However, Apollo is already laying the foundation, laying the stickies forward. We see the double scouts on the roof and on the top, and they're going to take this ground for free.
That's one of the most aggressive mids I've seen in quite a while coming out of out of MPREGALODONS. We've seen it slow down a little bit in recent times, I guess, with the better beats like you. So go slow, spam maybe sack a couple of players there, all 6 players straight across the point instantly. As Davey and Apollo, last 2 left alive on the mid at least, and they're actually in a bit of a 1v1. Not going to be a 1v1 for much longer because Jenny comes and spoils the party, spoils the MGE session, cheats, spawns in on the same arena, and cleans it up.
Anyway, we are still watching here. Come Sar. Look at Sar, and there is a Shark team pulling through, smelling blood in the water again. They have 60% or 50% now as we speak. Uber advantage. I also don't see any off-class choices here aside from the engineer. Maybe a defensive sniper could have worked wonders, but it is not going to. Well, it will help here the sentry gun to have the multi, and the Uber is now over. They haven't even kept the second point.
Second point, yes, still not counting, still a few seconds away, and actually Lambrice is going to have a Uber charge of her own to use in onto this point, and Jenny is going to be getting caught to it. Also, going to be seeing Samsky falling down too, so there is actually back if you got that cap, that would have been absolutely reasonable. I take it, jump in, trade 1-for-1 with Havik, but another successful last hold, and again, it kind of all hinged on getting that cap just coming so slow on mid. Is the fact that they had like 1 extra player there alive. The control point is being contested. Cap taking DFT as well in the meantime. But yeah, the fact the points cap's so slow there meant that Lambrice was able to get the Uber charge despite dying on mid, which is not something you see every day.
Davey is in for too long. They tried to help their over-aggression Demoman by the sheer fact that everybody is looking at the enemy Demoman, and then Samsky bombs in, but ultimately was not able to find the enemy medic, and they only toyed there with death, not able to bail out enough. But Lambrice gets still not under a lot of pressure. Tiki is dealt with, and they're already charging on at midpoint. But yeah, you said it, Mackie is still on the front lines, but weaving, dodging, diving, jumping, it is all coming to fruition as Lambrice is going to have his life secured, and Samsky doesn't find any medic to bomb.
Really intelligent play there actually from Lambrice, that was able to just aware of the fact, after obviously he got blindsided because the flank didn't check the angle on Saw, but to still get out away and out of trouble after taking so much damage originally is a really good heads-up play there. Whereas now, the better heads-up play being aware of that sniper forward spawns a 2 picks up, 40% Uber advantage for Lambrice, Cat and the rest of the Oracle team as they try and use it into last. This could be their best chance around the whole game so far, as they're already in, already doing a good amount of damage over towards Samsky. He's going to escape to the spawn, but the space isn't there. Are Oracle going to get around here?
Unfortunately, it's going to be an all-out DM fight as we speak. Samsky on that point, but now the Uber is going to come in, might be able to scurry out with their life intact. Never mind, it's almost going to be a full wipe. It's only Vlad alive, skirmishing in the back lines, but no. Looking at my kitchen counter, looking at the whiteboard, full wipe it is. Anyway, that was kind of brutal to see. They were looking so strong, but the problem is Apollo jumped in, which is like a normal jump in, meta bomb in, but was going down or shot down to so low on HP until the medic beam reconnected to him, and then he was on like 20 HP, got clean up afterwards, and they were not able to get any sort of vital pick during that Uber, so Sharks simply switched sides and played on the other side of the high ground.
And they're actually in a good position now to potentially stage some kind of coast to coast, because DFT still has advantage at second point, already going to be over towards the red. Look at the aggression out there. They're taking so much ground. Still 50% Uber for Lambrice Cat. There's time to work with now for MPREGALODONS. They're going to walk in top left. Uber charge at the end. There's a sniper to contest with. There's actually Vlad land that headshot over to Samsky. He's going to slow things down somewhat for MPREGALODONS, at least we have frags, but collapse with the spawn door. No one's allowed to get back in. No one's allowed to hit those reset mines. It's like a good push again.
Lambrice Cat rather got in and hit the respawn bind, which is kind of fair, but apparently the problem is 5 other players perish from the scene, and it is going to be a 5-0 for the Sharks. But you know what, Ben? We have already passed the 10-minute mark here, or 20 minutes have already flown by, as they've definitely looked better and worked themselves out. Oracle, I mean, I know it's a 4-0 and it's maybe some convalescent measures again onto both of the, or rather on this one team, but the main issue is, you know, what can you do? You can just go in full force here and try to bank on some scenarios working out for you.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And they've had a very respectable performance of Oracle in this map so far. There's still 1 round left to potentially get something on the board of their own, but again, this aggression from Oracle is taking so much ground, so much space on top. They are doing so much damage in the processes. Oracle, they're getting caught off. They're trying to get into Saw as best as they can, but Apollo gets caught out too, and once more, 3 players fall, and this is a very, very similar scenario to what we've seen previously on this, and they're actually not aware that Davies could be behind too, so LAN could be in a lot of trouble, and is taken down.
That was a beautiful bomb. Vlad is still in, battling the overheal scout alongside with the medic. Might have been able, or would have been more fruitful to opt maybe to shoot the enemy medic, but yeah, that is a backseat gaming commentary for sure. And now Samsky is going to bomb 50 HP on him and totaling the damage numbers. It's not that high up even then. Yes, close it off. 5-0 it is. 8 minutes still left to play for, but it is going to conclude here 2-0 in terms of maps for the Sharks, taking process quite unceremonially here. The Labryscat team and compatriots Oracle have shown a little bit more of a decent composure at taking it down the wire, a little bit more on Snakewater, but alas, it was a bit of a dominant play. I also want to point it out, the red herring the red team sometimes gave to Oracle was that Davy went down in the damage numbers, but it was then used, which I really liked from the Sharks, as a sort of, you know, distraction play. You see the enemy in demo is weak, you try to charge him, but you run into a double soldier, which just tears you a new one. But you can talk tactics all day, but it's deathmatch.
Yeah, it's hard, right? And honestly, like, respect to Oracle, because they had a couple of good chances there. They really played their advantage as well, and I think honestly they for the most part were playing pretty intelligent TF2. It's hard, right? Because if you're getting sort of 6-man out DM'd by the enemy team, it's just there's a limit to what you can do. But in that scenario, they had a couple of good attempts at last pushes. Obviously, one they got first early in the second one. Their push wasn't great in terms of the Uber, but in that Snakewater game, it was night and day difference compared to process, and yeah, it was still a 5 or in 23 minutes. But yeah, honestly, respectable performance given that there's a 2-division gap between these two teams as well.
And
so, good.
Especially since one team was winning their respective division, but you also got to keep in mind that you rise and mature with your competition, and I definitely do see them when they stick together as a team and just play. I mean, yes, they also want to play at LAN, and that might prove a bit harder or a hindrance now is put before them, might be a little bit of a stumbling block now, but yeah, I mean, you still get the practice, you can't talk that out. But anyway, I don't want to keep people that are watching here for too long. Still, shout out to both of those teams putting up a show of 6 vs 6. Ben, it is a pleasure always to cast with you and Stu, to have the camera in the background. You can also again peel your eyes toward the screen. Maybe you can see what games are coming up next. We do have some at Sunday, some at Monday, probably some at Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever the day, since there are so many games, we alluded to it earlier, are coming up. But my name was Tomato. You have looked and watched Essential, but you know who is the most essential part of this? You, since you are watching us. But that was the poLAND qualifiers, and we will catch you for more 6 vs 6 action in the future. See you then.